so Christian continued on his journey. Oh, he was so pleased to have escaped the swamp of sadness. Now, he'd only been walking for a short time when suddenly he saw a very strange man up ahead.
Well, good afternoon. It's been a very long time since I've seen anyone walking these strange paths, especially with such a large burden upon their back. Where might you be going?
Oh, I'm on my way to the celestial city. I know that I have to pass through a wooden gate to get there. And the most important thing is I have to stay on this straight path.
So would you be interested in hearing some good advice? They call me Worldly Wiseman.
Oh, well, yes, please.
Well, the first thing that we have to sort out is that burden upon your back. You're not going to go anywhere with such a big burden. We're going to have to get rid of it for you.
Oh, yes, that's right. Evangelist has already told me where I need to go to get rid of it.
Ha 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 ha! Evangelist, always making things more difficult for people, always telling them that they've got to do more. Now listen to me, young man. I know exactly what you need. Tell me, what has Evangelist already got you doing? From all that mud on your clothes, it looks like he's already got you through the swamp of sadness. That must have been a terrible experience for you. Oh dear boy, the swamp is only the beginning of your problems. Continue on this path and you will meet with all manner of danger. Hunger, pain, lions, darkness. Oh, there are terrible things ahead of you on this path.
I know. I've already been warned about them. But wearing this burden on my back is worse than all those problems you have just described.
Oh dear boy, I know the burden is so much for you, and that is why I have an easier way, a better way for you to get rid of that burden. All you need to do is simply follow my path. This path will lead you to a mountain, and on top of that mountain there is a man called Mr. Follow the Rules. He will be able to get rid of that burden off your back in no time at all. Now quickly, off you go.
Okay, if there's an easier way, then I'll go the easier way. Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you for your advice. And so it was that Christian left the narrow way that Evangelist had told him to go, and he followed the easier path that was set by Worldly Wiseman. Although the path started off quite easily, Christian soon reached a very steep mountain. He started to climb. This was going to be really, really difficult, much harder than he thought. Then all of a sudden, he heard this booming voice coming from the top.
Where do you think you're going? You must stick to the rules. You must obey. Don't do that. Do this. You're not good enough to climb this hill. You'll never be good enough to climb this. Who do you think you are? Turn back. You're a failure.
The burden on Christian's back now felt heavier than ever.
This is too hard. I can't follow all these rules and commands. I'm going to fall. Ah!
With a great thud, Christian fell down the mountain.
Is that you, Christian? What happened to you? Well, there was this man and he told me it would be easier if I came this way and, well, I guess I listened to him and I started to try and climb that mountain, but it's too hard. It's clear that I'm just not good enough. Dear Christian, I think you may have run into Mr. Worldly Wiseman. Was he wearing all fine and dandy clothes and speaking to you with a posh, fancy accent? Don't listen to a word he says. Now, Christian, let's have less of this talk about you being good enough for the Celestial City. Haven't you read the book? King Jesus is what this book is all about. He's the only one who's good enough. You get into the Celestial City because of him and what he's done. It's not about what you have done. Now, come on, be on your way. Let's get up on your feet and let's go. And be careful who you listen to. And remember, Christian, stick to the path.
And then, in the distance, Christian suddenly saw it. The little wooden gate with the light shining above. However, on the opposite hill, he saw a large castle with dark figures in the tower. This was the castle of Apollyon. Apollyon is the enemy of King Jesus. He hates what is good and he loves what is evil, and he will do anything to take people off the path and to stop them reaching the wooden gate. Christian started to run as quickly as he could, and the dark figures from the castle fired their arrows at him. He reached the door and knocked on it as loudly as he could. "Let me in! Please, let me in!" he shouted. A man called Goodwill suddenly opened the door and pulled him in just in time. "Ah, I've made it," said Christian. So Christian has reached the wooden gate, and next week we'll find out what happens on the next stage of his journey. So, until next week, children, it's bye from me. Bye.